Hello and welcome to episode 7 of our Timberborn Update 6 Emberpelts hard mode playthrough in Cycle 10, Day 8. Got a 16-day bad tide just started at the end of the last episode, and today we're going to get through the rest of that and continue improving a whole bunch of stuff, including the things that you guys, shall we say, didn't like that I did last time or didn't do. Starting with these guys here. Yes, I did not add any of these lumberjack flags. So we can pretty simply take care of that by just putting in some platforms, and then 3 flags right here should be more than enough once these start growing up, which should be very, very soon. Within the next day and a half, 2 days, should see these start popping up, and that'll take care of everything here. Unfortunately, these trees on the edge here are going to become victims to contamination. They're going to die off, and there's not really too much we can do about that yet. But we do have the option of making contamination barriers just as soon as we have actual metal blocks put in place. And that's something that's going to happen just as soon as these guys are able to operate effectively. I turned off this engine so I wouldn't be burning any logs, which means that this smelter can't operate because it doesn't have any power. And it also doesn't have any charcoal. So, there's different things that we need to take care of, but it will all come in due time. Other things we need to do. We need to get the presses going so that we can have juice. Not that we need it to, satisfy the thirst of the beavers, but we just need to get in the habit of doing it, because there's so many other things that we need to be doing with our food, different processing, to get up the well-being, because look at all this we're missing. We can pretty much almost make all of this just as soon as we start making juice. So that's going to be a gradual process. We've got other things we can add in for social life, aesthetics, and all that good stuff. But it all just takes time. We also have this area over here. Man, I'm going to get absolutely slaughtered if I keep using that phrase. But we have this area over here that in a good tide is going to be very, very, very good for growing trees or other crops or something like that. But like I said in at least one of the replies to the comments, we need to put contamination barriers in here first, or else it's going to be basically impossible to keep anything growing. And probably put in one of those irrigation stations somewhere, maybe right about here. So that'll come eventually. We also do have some trees up here, yes. A number of you pointed that out, that we could get up to get those. And then also over here, if we just put one more levee or a bridge or a platform or something, there's a bunch of these birch trees that we can get to. But this is kind of far away from the main area. And the rest of these trees are going to be growing in pretty soon. I'm just hopeful that these don't die, the ones that are about to be at 100%, because that's going to be pretty embarrassing if and when that happens. So go ahead and put this thing in turbo mode. Just do what we can do when we can do it. You already know, but it's not looking good for this tree right here. It's not looking good. Yep, it's contaminated. Nothing we can do about it, short of just building additional levees out here. But again, I don't have the wood, so that's about all we can do, is just sit here and then commiserate about that. Other things I want to address. People keep asking for these mechanical flue pumps. This is 5,000 science. We cannot build this. It takes 700 HP. Like, please understand, this is not possible. Not this early in the playthrough. But yes, these do filter water, so we could put one of these guys in the river here and just have it set to fill this up, and then everything would be perfectly fine. But right now, it is just completely impossible to do this. Once we put in a number cruncher at some point eventually, then maybe, but it's not going to happen right now. We just have to move on from that. I'm hopeful that none of the rest of these will end up getting contaminated. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh well. Nothing else we can do about it. We'll just have to move on. Once the rest of the logs start rolling in, though, we can really take off with the rest of this stuff. We have to make sure we can make what's this called? Charcoal, which I had kind of started doing here, except we need to have logs to do it. So probably, even though there's other stuff we really should be focusing on, it's probably not a bad idea to just put in some stuff over here, especially since we have so many beavers who aren't working. Just go ahead and mark this entire thing for cutting, which should not be too hard. We don't really need to mark the entire thing, but yeah. It's one of those things that helps me sleep a little bit easier at night, knowing that I did the entire thing. Even though they can't reach all of it, I know. I know. We'll get there. So I will put a little industrial pile here. 4 logs set to supply. And they can take that stuff out. But honestly, these are birch trees. They're 1 log apiece. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. So here we go. We finally have some trees here. And yes, we have not marked them for cutting. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's getting fixed. Everything is getting fixed in time. We just have to be a little bit better about the whole contamination business here. So while we're here, we'll go ahead and unmark these just because those don't need to be marked. Get this taken care of. Yeah, because this isn't going to be planted ever again. Let them do what they got to do, and now we do have some trees growing in, so that is A-OK to get going with some charcoal, and also an engine, and also a smelter. So once that's a thing, then I guess technically we have 1 vacancy, but that's okay. It should be in... No, it's not even in the hauling post. I guess it's in one of these inventors. Yeah, so that's A-OK. Perfectly fine. Probably the first thing we need to start doing with the metal is going to be to make contamination barriers. Just because it affects so much stuff over here. And I'm going to go ahead and unlock it. But I'm not going to start building in this exact spot because the rest of this stuff is going to be fine. I'm going to start by building in this area here, which I think I'm probably going to have to put here, and then we'll start going out from there. Now each one of these is only 1 metal block, so we should be able to build them pretty quickly so long as the planks can keep up. We should see benefits for this pretty quickly as soon as these get put in place, especially right around the forester. Every little bit matters, and this is very, very, very important for us to have. So that's why that's going first. Yeah, so there we go. 6 hours to make 2 blocks. That's totally fine. Don't forget that the Emberpelts have the large smelter, which will make 3 hours for 2 blocks. Make 2 blocks in 3 hours, not make 3 hours for 2 blocks. That's not, you can't create time out of material. That is a technology that is unknown to both man and beavers currently. Yeah, see, look how quickly this is going. Getting some nice wood here, and then in a little bit, then these guys will have nothing left to do, and we'll just have to be able to move on from that. But yeah, we should see this start shrinking very, very slowly. We're making progress. This is very, very worthwhile stuff, folks. Very worthwhile. So I'm hopeful this can continue just as soon as we have the rest of the materials. I have these lumber mills paused, again, because we didn't want to use all of the wood, so getting this stuff turned back on will take a little bit of time, but it's going to be worth it. Going to be just fine. Also, should be noted that these ruins are not going to last forever. That's why I didn't build a crazy complicated thing up here. I just wanted to use all this. And we do have more metal over here if we choose to get there. But we also, before too long, are going to have these underground ruins once this dries out. And it's still pretty deep. This is several cycles worth of evaporation. But by the time I think we can actually, utilize the mines, that should be pretty available. And we also have this guy right here, which I do want to get over to, but I don't want to use the materials right now to make the passage across the lake here. We'll get there, though. We'll get there. Won't be too long. Yeah, so look at reclaiming land 1 bit at a time. 1 bit at a time. So I will go ahead. I think if I can get away with only putting so many in, then I think that's going to be super helpful. But this is one of those things where there's so much contamination in the general area that you're really going to have almost all of this blocked off for it to have some sort of appreciable effect. Just got to do what we got to do. Let them take care of that as they will. So, other things that we want to build here. Notice that the water is going down quite quickly. This is paused. And these guys can't pump anything else because there's nothing left to pump. So we shouldn't be worried about that. Remember, our population is still very low. And thanks to the goods statistics mod, we have about 10 days before we're going to be out of water. Provided that we don't continue dumping stuff. And we don't continue using it to make other stuff like... I think there's at least one of the juice recipes that requires water. Corn juice? Yeah. So we're not going to be making any corn juice, but we're also not going to be making any juice because these things are not built. And they're going to require some more materials. But we are slowly ramping up production of all this stuff. So in due time, it should end up being pretty okay. I'm hopeful that this will continue to become a lot more usable really quickly, and that this is a worthwhile investment. Just to focus on building this for a little bit of time. I'm pretty sure we're in decent shape. And now it says 11 days to deplete. That's good. That's good. Got 100 logs. We cut all these guys out, so let's get rid of those, and I'm going to go ahead and just build a path over here. Oh, you know what? That wasn't quite enough. Let's, I guess just put that guy there by himself. That's probably fine. And then, you know, going too far up here probably isn't wise, but we might as well just do whatever we can with this. So that's going to reach there, which means, can he get... Oh, he can. He can get that one tree. All right, cool. And since there's, you know, nothing else up here, we can go ahead and unmark all the stuff that's been cut and won't need to be cut. Just a good habit to get into. All right, they'll take care of that. Metal continues. Yeah, and look at this. We've already reclaimed a pretty nice chunk of space here. Pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. We're going to continue. Although it looks like I do need the pieces in the corners. I saw at least 1 or 2 comments saying that you don't need those, but if I put these 2 in and this is still contaminated, pretty conclusive evidence that that's not true. I'm sure I'm going to get flamed for that, but that's fine. Put these things in here, continue harvesting trees, continue making planks. We need to make some more gears so we can make the presses as well, but I don't even have recipes selected for this yet. And things that we currently have a lot of, canola. Canola, of course, is used to make a whole bunch of other types of foods. But as it stands now, the grilled corn seems to be doing pretty well for us, and I know that is a very, I guess, overpowered recipe for the early game without a whole lot of technology behind it. But if we get some canola oil, we can also start using the bell peppers in the grill, which I think is going to be a smart thing to do because we have, count them, 300 bell peppers. So let's go ahead and start building this guy. Going to have to turn the gear workshop back on as well. And let's see, we've got grilled corn there. We've got apple storage there. Where am I? Okay, bell peppers are here. I guess it doesn't really matter. This one we can go ahead and set to grilled bell peppers. And then we're going to need storage for that. And remember that I did say we're going to completely redo our storage once we have the materials to do so. And we're in the process of getting there. Just got to trust the process a little bit. Get the rest of these trees down. By that point in time, these should be a whole lot more growable. Okay, so this has actually become decontaminated. So I guess we're probably okay. Go ahead and just get those finished up. I don't know that they're... Ah, yeah, see, they can't reach that. All right, so I'm going to have to do the unthinkable and kill a tree. But it's only at 6%. So that's fine. We'll get rid of that guy. We'll extend the path, and then hopefully they can put that contamination barrier in. I guess we'll see what happens. Oh, that one still can't be reached. Really? I feel like that's not far enough away. Well, okay, these are only at 4%, so go ahead and get rid of those two as well. But once this is in place, I don't think we're going to need to have the path there. Okay, who's out of stuff to do? This guy? All right. Well, that's fine. You can go do literally anything else. A couple trees left over here. And it looks like we've got our press making canola oil. So that's exciting because now we can actually have grilled bell peppers. And this will hold 120 of them, so actually for the time being we don't even need to have any storage for those. That's fine. That's good. Other stuff that we can turn into juice. Obviously, corn is going to be a popular thing, but beet and radish juice is, I think, probably what we should be doing next. Go ahead and unpause that. It's going to be a while before we can actually build this because we have to make another bunch of gears. But obviously that's going to be good. That's what we were doing up here before we changed everything out. So that's something to keep an eye on there. And I think it's about time to start expanding our population again. Remember, we had these guys here, and then we had these guys here. So I'm going to go ahead and add, I think another double lodge right here is probably fine. Just fill in our little area here. Keep them kind of close together. And then think about other things we can add to do some basic well-being improvements. And there are a number of you in the comments who are asking for medical beds. So, you know, we only have 2 injured beavers, but we do want to go ahead and get some medical beds going, because you don't want to forget about your injured beavers. That's a bad idea. So we'll just kind of put those out of the way for a little bit. We've got these 2 small tanks here that also could use some logs, just so we have storage for canola oil. That's fine to put there. But the beet and radish juice, I don't have any storage for any longer. So we're going to have to do something about that. Figure out our layout of, well, pretty much everything before we get too comfortable with stuff. But I really like these underground tanks. And if we can get our stuff going in a robust enough manner, then I want to just skip straight to those. I don't want to mess with the large tanks because it holds twice as much. Twice as much as a large tank. And it's really not that much more in the way of materials. And it's actually fewer planks. You just have to have 40 metal on top of the 60 bricks. And remember, if you watch the live stream playthrough we've been doing of these guys, these underground tanks are more than enough to sustain a population of, well, what do we have, 200 some beavers? We've got one of these for every type of juice, multiples for water, and it's totally fine. And it's nice and centralized. But can they finally reach this when I put these paths in? Yes, it looks like they can. So getting that in place is going to be nice. And of course, we'll just continue bringing these guys in just as much as we can. And that, once these are in place, that should take care of most of these. Plus, the bad tide is just about over. And not a moment too soon, because we're going through water like something else. But the presses are going to help with that. This is just about ready to go. Remember, as soon as they have beet and radish juice, then they don't have to drink the water, and then they won't get thirsty. Is this guy finally finished? Yep, looks like he is. Cool. So that was worth getting. Got a decent selection of wood now. We got a little bit more we can get to in some other parts of the map, but probably for right now, not really necessary to be worried about. We have apple trees here that we are picking apples from. We don't need to harvest those for wood anymore. But we have all of these trees as oaks that need to be dealt with. And also used with contamination barriers. That's one of those things that we're just going to have to do over a period of time as we continue building things. So I'm going to go ahead and unpause this levee, because putting that there is going to allow us to have a path access from this side, which is going to make it a lot easier for us to do stuff with the island in the future. It all comes in time. And like I said, the water is just about gone, but now that we have the press making the juice, we should be a-okay. And this is looking so much better over here. Go ahead and plant the rest of these as oaks, so that can be fully utilized. And then, of course, add those to cuttable things as well. And once that's taken care of, we can probably get rid of these paths here and plant some additional trees. So that is what I will do. Go ahead and get those back in. And we'll be in pretty good shape moving forward here. Alright. So got a couple more. I'm going to go ahead and just, because this would have to be here anyway, I don't need to build that. Just put those 4 in. We do have a full storage on metal blocks because I didn't make a storage for metal blocks. So we might as well go ahead and put in a couple of these small industrial piles. I'm not going to make a giant one over here because this isn't going to be for too much longer usable. See, look at all this. This was definitely worth putting these in. Now this is basically bad tide proofed, and everything should be looking a whole lot better. And there we go, folks. Cycle 11 begins. The water can be pumped again very, very soon. And that is looking good. Now, what we should do, before we get too much further, is we should start building additional automated water pumps, which we can do easily right here. Just put one of those guys in, because it's going to be more important that we can pump quickly as we continue moving. And this is a lot cleaner water than we had before. Remember last episode we had that blocked off, and then a couple episodes ago we blocked that off. So there's still a little bit that we can improve on. Now there's some remnants here of nasty water that's going to take time to evaporate and get flushed out and all that. But the next goal for getting rid of bad water probably should be to plug that guy, because that will pretty much guarantee anything coming through here, period, point blank. Well, actually, no, there's no bad water over here. Anything coming from this side of the map, once that guy's gone, is going to be delicious and clean water. And, yeah, you know what? There's no other way bad water can get in here. This is the only one. It's the only one that's causing problems. But this is not going to be so easy to get bad water out of. We're going to have to do either some blasting or actually build a cap on this guy, because it's doesn't have an exit. So, something to think about as we keep moving forward. Just need some more gears for this. I don't think there's any on the ground, but that is A-okay. Got to get these supplies up. And as soon as I have the science... Well, I have the science, but as soon as I have the materials, we really should start building one of these guys. In fact, let's go ahead and unlock it. And underground tank-wise, I'm thinking it's probably going to be smarter to have this closer to all of our beavers, or the majority of the beavers, the critical mass of beavers. Just in a general area right here. And this irrigation isn't going to reach any further than this. So probably right around here would make sense. Put an underground tank just for water storage. And again, we don't have all the materials for this, but we're pretty close. We got 28 of the metal blocks. We got the bricks. We've always had the bricks for the last episode. But planks and logs should be more than fine. Get this thing in here, and that's really going to help us out. Have it set as an obtain, and the haulers can move everything around. And then we can start getting rid of some of these and only have these set to supply. I think is what that's called. Contamination here is only 15%. That's pretty good. Pretty good. A lot better than it was before. So I don't think we really need to be that worried about much of anything else, to be perfectly honest with you. As far as this is concerned, we're just continuing to improve things bit by bit. And hopefully soon, before the end of this good tide cycle, we'll have this underground tank ready to go. I think at this point it's just an issue of the builders actually constructing it. And if we don't roll a drought next, then we're going to have to build more contamination barriers. But if we do have a drought, we don't have to worry about it. This will keep everything irrigated and, of course, not contaminated, which will be quite lovely. All right, folks. It's time to hurry it up. All of you in the Beaverburg 23 District Center. Bring me the pieces. Bring me the pieces. Because these are going to be full up before too long. Now we're just waiting on a handful of gears here. That's totally fine. I know this is not the perfect industrial setup. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna be better about it. But for right now, this is what we have. It is exciting, though, that we do have some beet and radish juice that is being consumed regularly, even though we don't have a storage for it yet. That will come soon. I just want to focus our efforts on building this. Yeah, you know, we actually have pretty much all the materials. I don't know why they're so slow building it. Well, it probably has something to do with the overall well-being average being only 12. But we'll get that figured out. Okay, so bad tide approaching. That means that it's going to be really important that we start taking care of contamination barriers. And I'm going to take this off at triple speed just so I can get some stuff placed before it becomes a problem. So these 6 right here are not going to solve all of the problems for this area, but it is going to make it possible for us to plant some more trees. And then I think I am going to need to have, because I can't put barriers on paths, I'm going to have this set up probably right like so. And that should get us most of the way there to put these things in, but I definitely want this to be finished first in terms of metal block usage. So I'm going to deprioritize these guys, even though they are important, yes, but this storage is going to be absolutely crucial. And I don't know why it's taken them so long to do it. Like, I've got, yeah, I got brick storage right here. Like, what's the deal? It's not far. It is not far, and they're just lagging behind on this stuff, man. Okay, they're carrying gears for that. Good. We do need gears here, but again, this is the big ticket item, man. This is the underground tank that we have to store all of our water, and this is about to be pretty full otherwise. It is disappointing that we're going to have more of these or all the trees are going to die again, but you know, it just is that way sometimes. I am a little bit conflicted about not building these first, but I think it's more important to have storage for the water because remember, the bad tides are just going to keep getting longer. In regular hard mode, they can be up to 30 days. So, I want to make sure we're as prepared as we can be. And yeah, it is going to take a day and a half or so for this to be completely unpumpable, but we're going to need a lot more than 1,300 water, folks, even with the press. Especially now that our population is growing rather considerably. So, I guess we'll put this back in triple speed. Don't have to really worry about too much anymore. I just need these guys to get this finished. Let's go. Let's make it happen. I don't really have enough beavers to do another builder's hut yet. But I get the feeling we're going to be extending our work hours a little bit to make sure everything can get moved over here. Even though these are automated pumps, they still have to be emptied manually by a beaver. And this guy still needs five of these gears. What's up with that, man? What's up with that? Hey, here we go, though. This is now ready to go, and the haulers can all get to work on that. We got 10 of them, so you know they can do it. And then these have been deprioritized, which, well, these can't be built anyway because they're out of range of everything else, but I don't have the metal in the first place, so I guess that's fine. Right now, we should be focused on emptying. All right, I guess I could just manually start emptying all these. Doesn't really matter, so long as this is being filled up and we do have the excess capacity at the source, then we're all good to go. And this one's operating for the, you know, almost 2 days. That definitely counts for something. 5 of these is going to bring us quite a bit more than 4 of them and 3 of these guys. So, eventually I do want to have all of these fully automated, but I don't have enough gears to build another one before the next good tide yet. We're going to work on that. We're going to do our best to make sure something is possible, and then continue building over here. We have the power generation capacity to put probably another 3 of these, 2 or 3, depending on how we want to do it. We can continue extending with additional water wheels if we so choose. Not going to be a problem. And someone in the comments did bring up a good point, is that in a drought when these wheels aren't turning, there's still going to be water that's able to be pumped. So we will want to, before the next drought comes in, we will want to put a little windmill in here. I'll have to find an appropriate place for it to go, but we will want to put a windmill in here in a way that it can actually connect to things so that we can have at least some power going to these guys during a drought, even if it is sporadic, or we could just put another engine once we have a stable enough wood supply. But just so you guys know that I am thinking about those things, just not at the front of my mind currently. That is what we're working with. So, yeah, these need to be built. I know it's not going to be perfectly perfect, but every little bit counts. Every little bit counts. Even if it only saves a couple of crops. As we continue needing additional crops, that's going to be super important for us to do. In this area over here, we don't really need to worry about quite yet because we haven't planted it. But we'll get there. Okay, 11-day bad tide. 11-day bad tide. And we have 2,300 water. That's totally fine. That's more than enough. But, of course, we are going to let them keep pumping, as one does, until there's no more water coming out of it. But, again, these are automated. Nobody works here except the haulers when there's something to haul. So, once they stop taking stuff out, then it's going to stop utilizing those guys. So, no reason to ever worry about those. These guys, though, want to keep an eye on. Obviously, I'm going to let them keep working until there's nothing left to do. Probably toward the end of, I guess, day 8, maybe day 9, maybe the beginning of day 9. This is going to slow down to the point where it's no longer worth having the beavers in there. But all things considered, we're looking pretty good. We made some impressive strides in the last several days here, if you'll excuse me. We do have these guys under here to prevent contamination from spreading that way. And I know it's still going to kill some crops, but we will make it through. We'll be totally fine. It's just not going to kill nearly as many crops. And it seems like this hasn't actually done that much because I have these guys here, but they're going to go away. Don't worry. In fact, I think probably once these guys stop making considerable progress... Yeah, so this is just so slow. I'm just going to get rid of them. Just completely get them out of there. Because we can just contamination barrier this whole thing. And we can get rid of this gatherer flag, and we can move that to be pretty much anywhere else, honestly. Just have this go straight the way across, and then put in contamination barrier here. It's all in a day's work for the beavers. All in a day's work. There's probably a little bit of a better way to do this, but for right now, we're doing what we can with what we got. You know the drill. That's what we always say. I do think I'm going to need to have... Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this. Get that situated there because I can always just put that on top of a platform. And now that we have the resources to do it, might as well get that out of the corner so we don't need that. And I know it's not going to 100% take care of everything, but it's going to make it very, very hard for the contamination to get in here. There's still going to be a tiny bit, but we'll get through it. Be totally fine. Are these guys actually still pumping? No, they've stopped, but that's fine. Because now I've got an extra beaver, which means I can have somebody else operating something. Do we need to have this engine operating? I mean, probably, if we're going to continue having these presses. Yeah, we might as well. Might as well do that. I think I can go ahead and build... I don't know why I had to click all those different things for that. Go ahead and build another gear workshop. And then... So that's going to be another 120 HP, but this is going to give us another 250. So I do have capacity to put in another couple of presses. I'll put in 2 more. I know it's probably going to be slightly more than this can actually produce. But we really need to make sure we're starting to make other types of juice. We've got canola oil, beetroot radish juice, apple juice for sure, and tomato juice. I'm not going to do the corn juice yet because corn is going to be important for other things. Plus, we're already making a ton of grilled corn, and we want to expand our different storages and everything as well. So, now that that's a thing, we have our beautiful, wonderful underground tank over here. It's time to start thinking about additional storages. And we've got the underground warehouse, obviously, is tremendously awesome. It's 30 bricks, 40 gears, 60 planks, and 20 logs, and you get 3,600 storage capacity. You're not going to beat that. And honestly, I just want to skip straight to this. I just want to do it, so... No metal required either, which is tremendously good. The gears are going to be a problem, though. So as we continue working on the rest of our stuff here, I do think it's going to be fine to just go ahead and put this guy here. And of course, because our most plentiful food, most available food is the grilled corn, that's what's going to go in there. And, you know, it'll take some time to get all the gears and stuff put in, but eventually it's going to be worth it. I would like to clear out all of our storage of the corn that's currently, well, stored, make it into grilled corn, and then maybe we start doing some corn juice as we continue expanding our well-being. See, I told you guys last episode, progress is going to go a whole lot quicker now that we're out of the just please survive mode. All this matters. And there's a reason I do it the way I do it. Is I really don't want to be chasing down early game stuff in like episode 15 or whatever. Which, in the Apocalypse Mode series, that's still happening because it's Apocalypse Mode. But now, friends, we're looking pretty good. We're looking pretty good. And I feel like we can be pretty happy with the accomplishments that we've gotten this series so far. And I appreciate your patience. I know it's really frustrating for some of you to see seemingly simple mistakes get made or things being prioritized that you don't think I should be prioritizing, but it ends up working out. Everything's fine. And we're all made better for it. Yeah, gears, tremendous problem with the gears, but we'll get there. We'll get there. We just have to, you know, actually have all the materials we need. Planks for a while were looking a little dicey, but then I remember that's probably because most of them are going into this warehouse construction. And that's just about finished as far as planks are concerned. These guys, every 1.3 hours combined, can make 2 planks. And every 3 hours, these guys consume 2 planks. So obviously, production is fine for that. Just trying to think of what else we might have to do here. I've got full storage of charcoal. I mean, we're not running out of logs. I think our logs for right now are probably actually fine, given the fact that we still have these guys that haven't been harvested yet. We don't have a good log storage over here. So I think it's probably smart for us to go ahead and put in... I really should have done that here, honestly. But... let's see if there's going to be any of these things that I could remove in favor of putting a storage in. I don't know. I don't know. It's probably fine. We could just put a storage here, and if I have to remove it, I have to remove it. Not that big of a deal. But we do need to have some sort of additional log storage. We only have a capacity for about 270. And that's just about full. All right, cool. So all the planks are in, the bricks are in, and now we're just waiting on another 15 gears, which these guys will be able to whip up in a day or two. Hopefully. Hopefully. You never know. You never know entirely how all this stuff is going to go. So yeah, good progress. Very good progress being made here. I do want to put another one of these triple lodges in, but I'm not really a big fan of that gap on the side there, so I feel like I kind of should put this double in. But I know it's kind of dumb to try to build stuff like that. The tenement lodges, these are going to be fun. Like I said, they're going to be fun once we actually get to that point. But we'll be there. We'll be there at some point. Not necessarily right now, but we will get there. What I think is going to be more important for us to do is get some rooftop terraces in on top of these guys, which is going to mean that we need to put ladders in place. Or somewhere at least. I guess... You know what? We might as well just put ladders in like that, and then extend that way. Put a path across the top. That'll work totally fine. Totally fine. Once these all get built, that is. Now that we have 17 homeless beavers just in time for night to come. Oh, okay. That, I will admit, was a bad choice, but the good news is this underground warehouse is very close to being done. And that means all of our grilled corn is going to get transferred in here immediately, and we can remove 2 of these warehouses in favor of having additional crops planted, which I know you are all going to be very excited about. So if I can click on the right spot, let's go ahead and empty these 2 expeditiously, get it done, and everything will be A-okay. Alright, these are very quickly emptied. These grills also are going to need to move, but I haven't fully decided where that's going to go yet. And just for where we are now, we probably should look into putting additional underground warehouses in. But I don't want to put these down until I have enough materials to build them. And I probably should decide whether foods are going to be stored like this. Not entirely sure. And I did get at least one comment, maybe a couple of them, that said we should store the raw food instead of the finished food. And yes, if you're going to be building a bunch of storage, then yeah, you should have more storage for the unfinished food, because it's a denser way of storing things. But for what we're growing now, I think it's fine. And of course, having a whole bunch of grilled corn stored is going to be good. If we do ever have to change how we're producing stuff, or all the crops die or whatever, then that's something they can actually eat. But eventually, I would like to have all of this stuff stored in abundant quantities. Oh, I pressed the pause key. Okay. I was wondering what was happening there. The other stuff, like ingredients for juices, I don't know that we need to have the underground warehouses for them. Probably would be fine to just have the medium ones. So we just need to decide what that's going to mean for us. We got our things right here. Yeah, we're underproducing power just a little bit. Just a little bit, but I think we're doing fine. I just need to make tanks for this stuff. So, obviously the underground tanks are going to be a lot better long-term. But having the medium tanks, in the meantime, is not such a bad thing. So our consumable juices, like apple juice, beetroot radish juice, and corn juice, which we are not currently making but will soon, can all be stored right here. The canola oil we're not really using in huge quantities yet, so that's fine to have that there. But especially since these medium tanks in this mod don't require gears, it's smart to use them to take care of other stuff. And these guys here probably do need to be replaced with a single underground tank as a source. But I'm going to need to get some more planks made before I can build another one of these. And it looks like bricks also, which need to be made in the kiln, which is currently making charcoal, but I can easily switch back over to bricks and make use of all the stuff that we're doing here. Okay, and we definitely should be building some additional contamination barriers here, just to kind of protect what our trees are doing. I guess things are looking okay. You know, I really can't be upset. I feel like this is a very... I mean, we're not finished quite yet, but I feel like this is a very productive episode. Starting the process of moving some stuff around. It's always good. So these tanks are empty, which means this is a great opportunity for us to remove them entirely and kind of get this stuff set up in a way that's going to make sense. Because we don't need to have this here at all. That can just completely go away. And then if we have a nice storage for water not too far out of the way, I think right here would be a perfect location for it. I know the land is green, that's fine, but don't worry. Our food situation's perfectly okay. So this right here, I'm going to make an underground tank for water set to supply. And that is going to be a very, very convenient one-stop solution for the haulers to put the stuff in there, out of these guys, and then eventually fill this up as well. Which, hey, guess what? It's almost full. We've been doing very well with the water, and I'm very, very glad about that. Especially since this has become basically entirely automated now. Yeah. Alright, yeah. I'll definitely be happy about that. Gonna go ahead and get a couple more of these contamination barriers in place. We know for sure we can get rid of this, and we can streamline things a little bit more. Again, I'm just trying to prevent all of these tiles from becoming contaminated as much as we can. Yeah, they're working on those as well. Things are progressing quite nicely here. And look, we got beet and radish juice, we got apple juice, and, you know, we're not actually squeezing it yet, but we will have corn juice sometime soon. Very exciting stuff. So, here's what we're going to do the rest of this episode. We're going to go through the rest of the temperate cycle. We're going to end on whatever the next cycle is, whether it's a drought or a bad tide. And let's just take some stock of where we are. Not a whole lot of metal left here, which we definitely knew was coming at some point. But we don't need to get rid of this yet. What we should do instead is focus on accessing this island here. And the planks aren't necessarily going to be a tremendously good thing here. So, and you know, we want to prevent this from getting contaminated over here anyway. And the irrigation that will occur on behalf of this is going to be enough to offset any lack of irrigation over here. So, what I kind of want to do is I kind of want to put levees going all the way across here and just make a bridge that also blocks water from getting in. But what we can also do is we can put eventually a sluice in here that only lets clean water in, and then this could become another clean water lake once we have this blocked off as well. But for right now, to actually make use of this, as we have opportunities to, I'm just going to put a levee right across here and put a path going all the way through here. And that's going to allow us access to this area to get at all of this scrap metal, which we're definitely going to want to have. And I guess for right now, I can just have these two scavenger flags right here. Or honestly, to make this a little bit easier... Oh, and it's a drought too. All right, cool. That works out. Just put a scavenger here, and then to make it easier for the guys working on this, we'll put in a scrap metal supply. Just a small one. Nice and easy. And once this is gone, then we won't have to worry about it anymore. I know they're not going to be building this tremendously quickly, but since it's not a bad tide, it doesn't matter. We're doing A-okay. And we do have our drought warning in 2.6 days there. Waiting on planks, waiting on metal blocks. We have the metal blocks. The planks are still being made, and we have a bunch of stuff being built that does require the planks, so I guess that's fine. But you know, it is what it is. I'll tell you what. I'm going to change this from corn juice over to canola oil. Just because, well, I don't have any corn juice being made right now, and we have a lot of canola that hasn't been pulled out of the ground because there's no room for it. So, making progress, ever so slowly, but we're still making progress. I think as long as we don't use... Okay, well, we're definitely using all of our planks for that. I'm going to super prioritize this. So we should be able to put all the planks into the underground tank before we have the drought come in. So yes, those of you who have been saying, please build a windmill, guess what? We're going to research it. I can't put it right there, but I can put it right there. And that's going to be an easy thing for us to do. Just put in power shaft there, and we'll have, at some point, intermittent power to pump with the automatic pumps. It's not going to be perfect, but it will work. Just a nice little insurance policy. But I was really hoping I could have this underground tank completely ready to go before this drought started. Well, they'll get caught up with that. All in due time. And we need to start doing other food things as well, but I feel like that's going to be a good thing for next episode, because we're going to have to do grist mills and bakeries as well. But look at this, we've got 1,400 food, we've got 1,114 grilled corn. That's pretty good. And we do have the juices starting to get pressed in significant quantities over here, as time allows. All things just take time. Just takes time, folks. I think we can be, overall, can be very happy about this. I'm going to stop marking these apple trees for cutting, because now our situation with food is a lot of food. The situation with wood is a lot more stable. And I think... Yeah, we haven't even started cutting all these down. I'm gonna stop replanting these as oaks. These are gonna be all apples. All apples, folks. We just have to hope that the contamination barriers can all be put in for the next bad tide. All right, so are they gonna finish this? It's so close. It's so close. Guess what? You're working 20 hours now. Get this thing done. All right. Prioritized, emptied out. Then that can go away as well. We'll have a couple materials left for that. And yeah, there we go, folks. So yes, like I said, I was going to end the episode when we got to this point. So I really appreciate you sticking with this series. I know a number of you have been frustrated with how I have handled stuff with this, and I get it. I get it. It's really annoying when stuff doesn't go right. But there's always a point in these playthroughs where stuff clicks, and then from that point on, it's gravy, and you can just do whatever you want, and you can try to come up with some interesting new ideas, so on and so forth. So your support means a whole lot. Beard boosters, you already know. But I would be remiss if I did not recognize you. So all the people whose names on screen for the last, 19, almost 20 months have supported the channel in one way or another, whether it's 1 month of a gifted membership or they've been for the entire time since day one. I really appreciate all of you and all of the fantastic support. And those of you not on the list too. But how long is this drought going to be? Let's find out. Come on. 17 days. Okay. 17 days, totally fine. We've got irrigation covered for crops. We've got plenty of drinking water, and we have plenty of juices for the beavers to sip. So yeah, friends, look at this. Look how much we've done this episode, and it's not even an hour, because we finally got to the point where we could play on triple speed, and we could actually accomplish stuff. That feels good. I like this playthrough. I'm glad you're here. We'll see you back again soon for the next episode of this one. And then, of course, we have Apocalypse mode continuing as well with all the fun that we're having there. But whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.